This one is a real classic. It's the Attorney General of the country, Michaelia, and I wrote to her directly the following. This is what I said. Dear Ms. Cush, for now, I'm Dr. Rich, yet I'm fairly sure you're expecting me. She probably was. Next week, I face the AAT regarding defending my work cover, rejection from Comcare as an employee of the NDIS. It is an utterly inequitable setup for me to fail. I have no litigation, no representative, and the fight has been with such inequity, the vertigo of the assault makes me dizzy. I'm banned from legal services in the Victorian Legal Aid and the Victorian LC and Justice Connect and the local legal centre and the Disability Discrimination Legal Centre. I've been knifed by the Health Complaints Commissioner and the Mental Health Complaints Commissioner, who I found were corrupt in favour of the hospital, and AHPRA, NHPAPC, who investigate AHPRA, the Australian Medical Review Board, and the police, and IBAC, and the Victorian Inspectorate, and blocked and resented by the federal police, actually blocked. This systemic oppression was a standoff, and I was left to die, to be identified, victimised, blamed, and publicly vilified. This led to my own suicide, my forced suicide that was the result of systemic government oppression from local, state and federal government authorities and statutory authorities. The Victorian Ombudsman condoned my suicide in a hospital for a suicide attempt in a psychiatric ward where I was desecrated and violated, misdiagnosed with psychotic delusions of persecution. When I left, they had to admit that I was right, but I was further framed. After killing myself, in which I was found with a, quote, fatal injury, which was a local, state and government conscious malicious systemic oppression, which was more or less a conspiracy to manslaughter, the hospital released me unethically with barely any follow-up and left to die. The Australian government put me on job seeker in a malicious way that suits the mandate to make life hard for me that I kill myself before I receive validation or compensation. I put that in big red letters for her to see, just to point it out. I do not need the number for Lifeline, I sold to her, Michaela. I need a comrade within the government or at the top who can address this injustice and stop the persecution and victimisation. This was in spite of me being on I was on a pension for over 10 years for another reason. Further to the hospital releasing me unethically and abandoning duty of care, i.e. I was squatting, I was already off work with a complex issue with no job, no car, no money and no food. I was to be cared for by the local government health service. But the health service rejected me, seeing me in professional capacity only twice in a year, and further denied medications that I needed, which I still haven't got a source for. Despite my obvious distress about the result of my murder, or suicide or manslaughter, in the oppression from the system, the hospital conceded that I was neither psychotic nor delusional. I'm sane. The oppression was factual and actual, and I can easily demonstrate it. Once was pitiful after 3 months of seeing a psychiatrist, and the second was 10 months later to kick me out of the service. This is a government methodology to frame me, blame me and shame me, and simply ostracise and neglect me with pointed intention to victimise, in order to delay and deflect my care until I become so destitute, predictably I might top myself. There is a loggerheads on some justice issues from the past, right or wrong, and I have proven it. The malicious and pointed movement exploits already existing societal prejudices and stigmas to desecrate me, rob me, sadly aid and abet my death via pointed violence of neglect, and attack via proxy before justice. And then I pointed out in big blue words so she could see, victimisation is illegal. Slander is illegal. This is surely a conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. I said further, it's a malicious movement to not just innocuously ignore me, but pointedly and individually victimise and oppress me, in that that aids and abet my death, being bereft of prosperity, any money, and all my family and friends gone. That has already occurred, but that suicide has been covered up. And the hospital CEO, Dave Stevenson, was so delighted the Ombudsman saw nothing wrong, he tainted me to sue him directly in his audacity, having been informed I am powerless to act. I have never had a representative lawyer or advocate, but I have been an advocate for over 25 years in altruism. My former partner is an AGO agent. Hi, Steve Isonides. And I've already spoken with AGIS about his crimes. This may be a probable genesis point, as he owes me lots of money for exploiting me financially, in coercion and sexually, and leaving me homeless with his dying dog to euthanise. The Commonwealth Ombudsman have rejected my whistleblower status. This is all to Michaelia Cash. AFSA refused me. So did APRA. AFCA have blackmailed me, holding on to over $2 million in well overdue determinations, which would have saved my vagrancy and hospitalisation, which is really a crime of political persuasion and poverty. This is a crime projected onto me by agencies and organisations via proxy attacks from sources I can only fathom the colour and shape of. And the source is blacker than death. The pointed, willful framing and maiming of me will kill me, and already has. But it won't kill me because I'm not suicidal. Please, I want to think. I demand whistleblower protections, please. I was threatened by a thug last week that he would kill me outside my bedroom window in a vitriol that shocked me. The police are somehow powerless to act. I've tried many times to report crimes and get justice or atonement or traction. IBAC have also rejected my whistleblower status. So having been killed already, and then my 20-year online website being intentionally desecrated by Micron21, hi James, and evidence destroyed, and memories of loved ones deleted, and my digital identity utterly desecrated, my intellectual property not only compromised but intentionally deleted, as evidence before a court, and that's a crime. Not an agency cares. I've lost my friends. I can only summarise my position that there needs to be a truce. This is what I'm saying to Michaelia Cash, the Attorney General. I'm offering her a truce. I don't want anyone jailed, and I'm a kind man. I'm forgiving everyone. I need a simple life away from persecution with my pet dog. I don't want money, although I guess that will be a part of the conciliatory process to get me out of this situation. Any extra is the result of litigation. I will create a foundation to support vulnerable people, as I've done with my time and passion for over 20 years, getting a Human Rights Award and Book of the Year and a PhD. But I'm utterly isolated with no one left. I welcome your intervention so that I may be granted whistleblower protection before I am killed or rendered intelligently designed suicide. I wish to have healthcare, as I don't have medication, and nor have I been treated for my maimed brain from the permanent acquired brain injury from my suicide after losing all of my blood and being found with no pulse. I'm alive and simply gentle and kind. I don't need much, but I deserve a fair go. It's abhorrent that this has been allowed to fester. Some days I get up and I can't believe it, and I struggle to explain. It actually helps to read these out. And freedom from oppression and the ability to litigate, or freedom from litigation or jail, because they're going to set me up, or permanent incarceration, which they've already threatened me with, is on the horizon. You simply cannot witness this violence of neglect in which I will become the most famous maimed vagrant this country has ever seen. Before that, though, I will go public and attempt to hope to succeed in challenging the government. If you condone this simple, provable, systemic oppression that has set me up to fail for many years and still does, you are condoning the methodology that has already killed me. You are also allowing other organisations to get away with crime, such as the Australian Human Rights Centre, who owe me $2 million, and the AAT, who are going forward with my Comcare issue, which is cooked from the top. And you're allowing passage for my victimisation and persecution, my vagrancy, death threats, imminent murder, and death threats. It is the sum of a systemic, neglectful government oppression that has led to my infamy and my maimed head and my brain. The desecration of me in all currencies. It's a wonder I'm alive. It has rendered me a voiceless, infamous refugee in my own country and an ostracised and already deleted member of Australian democracy with no agency for defence or litigation except the decades-long synopsis that's gone on over in this letter email. I said to Michaelia Cash, the Attorney General, please have compassion and kindness. If you can't be kind, don't hurt me. Yet if you ignore it, it may well kill me. Follow up with me ASP. With compassion and forgiveness, Dr. Rich. And she writes back. It's hilarious. Dear Dr. Mclean, thank you for your correspondence of 8th of December 2021 to the Attorney General and Minister of Industrial Relations, Senator the Honourable Michaela Cash, regarding your experience with Comcare. The Attorney General has requested that the Attorney General's Department respond to you on her behalf. I am sorry to hear of the difficulties you're experiencing. I know that you have raised a number of legal matters in your correspondence. Hello, the Attorney General oversees all the law. It's not appropriate for the Attorney General as the first law officer or the Attorney General's Department to provide legal advice to members of the public or intervene in private legal proceedings. I can, however, provide you with information regarding whistleblower protections. And then they send me, yay, to the Commonwealth Ombudsman, where I've already been rejected. And and then I asked not to send me to Lifeline. I understand from your correspondence it's been a difficult time. You may wish to contact Lifeline. They can be contacted 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Or SANE, the SANE helpline. And they didn't know that I'm already spoken to Jack Heath and that he condoned pushing the can down the road, and my book was Sane's Book of the Year. Thank you again for writing to us on this matter. Yours sincerely, again, no name, the Security, Emergency and Administrative Law Branch, Attorney General's Department, LMCT 5671. It's so good. I'm going to be so cooked at the AAT in a little while. I'm going to lose millions. It's going to be hilarious. Stay tuned. There's more.